Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to KG5 for the Bupa TSL Round 1 opener between Glenorchy and Launceston. It has been a long time coming, and in strange circumstances, it has to be said that we're starting the season in July, but we are here and we're ready for what should be a cracking clash. I'm Damian Gill. Alongside me is Chris Rowbottom to call the action live. Welcome, Chris.
Yeah, good day, Gilly. Strange, isn't it? Round 1 action in almost mid-July at a cold and damp KG5, but I'm just happy that footy's back and we've got a few numbers through the gates. We
do have a few numbers through the gates, albeit under COVID restrictions, wiping of balls. You've got grandstands divided up and attendance limits. It's all foreign things to footy, but something that's not foreign is the game itself, and it's going to be great to have it back out there on KG5, the wide expanses, and two teams with quality running right through every line. And interestingly enough, the last game for Glenorchy last year was up against this very outfit, Launceston. They ended their season, so they'd be keen to start on a good footing up against the Blues today.
Yeah, they certainly would. That would have sat in their guts throughout the entire long pre-season, of course. A 10-goal loss back in that semi-final right here at KG5. Launceston far too good on the day. Some big news out of the Glenorchy camp. Jaye Bowden will not be taking the field. We've just seen him in the tracksuit. He's not playing. It looks like he's been replaced by Daniel Copperman in the 22. Don't know much about him, Gilly. And for Launceston, Isaac Chugg comes into the team. We think it's Bowen Pearce who misses from the selected side.
Yes, so that's a big blow right on the eve of the first bounce. The first bounce of the 2020 season isn't even a bounce. He throws it up, down it goes. New ruckman in Deegan, gets it out, brown eyes that off. He was collected high, no free kick from the umpire. They fight for it on hands and knees, and it'll be a stoppage. What an underwhelming thing. I've talked up the first bounce of the season for so long. Wasn't even a bounce, Chris.
Well, you called for it all last year to bin the bounce, Skilly, and they have, and you've given them a rap over the knuckles. As high ball comes out towards the wing, mark almost taken. In goes Roberts for Glenorchy, feeds it out to Daly, gets his first touch. Here's Big Deegan, hesitates, eventually got it off to Mott, who sends the Pies inside 50 for the first time. Mark was dropped back there. Shaky from the Launceston defence, but they'll work it out by hand, and they were good enough in the end through Taylor.
Taylor moves it too far out on that wing. It's out on the full, and here is Rhys Mott. Interestingly enough, going to play for Ulverstone later on in the year. He is running around today in black and white. To Mitch Rainbird, back in this side. Great to see him back in the TSL. He keeps it moving. I think it's geared out there on the outer side. The wide expanses of KG5 just nudges it onto the half forward flank. Interrupted for a second by Launceston. It's moved out of there nicely. There's a whistle though. It's going to come back. I think Jake Smith was collected after he kicked. So they get it, the Blues. No real advantage from the kick. A little one over the top. They're moving it nicely now. Whistles galore though, so I think it's going to come way, way, way back, and it's going to go the way of the Magpies. I think it's going to be a Mitch Rainbird ball. I didn't see what happened there, Chris, did you?
No, I didn't. I was watching the play 100 metres up the ground. Something's happened back at half back for Launceston, and you're right, Mitchy Rainbird will get the kick for the Pies. So Rainbird now, inside 50. Copperman, the inclusion flew at the back, got hands to it. They'll work it out by hand here, the Blues. Here's Joby Harper, prolific early. Finds the chest of a teammate. That's a shocking kick. Powerful the intended target. Big Copperman goes on through, shreds a tackler. Off now to Aiden Grace, who has a flying shot with the outside of the boot. He won't register the game's first score out of bounds on the full.
Well, Aiden Grace, he was an unbelievable pickup for the Magpies last year, wasn't he? Won the Hudson Medal for the most goals in the season. Not his best on that occasion, but him and Jake Smith had some terrific tussles throughout the year. Team of the Year performer was Jake Smith, and he's got the Sharon in his hands, pokes it for the skipper in Harper. So Joby Harper, terrific player. over a number of years and a number of clubs. A little nudgy ball finds Fletcher Seymour. Just the required journey. So Seymour, one of these Blues bulls, strides across the turf. Pokey ball to centre half back was brave. It's a good mark there. I think it might have been the inclusion Jamison House, who found his target in Taylor, who made a meal of it. Pokey one over the top now for the Magpies. They'll move it with haste. It's Webb. It slips through his fingers. Able to butter up. Off the left boot. Webb into the woodwork. A minor score for the Pies.
So Pies doing all the attacking early. Kick comes out in the Boy direction. It was a little bit too hot for him. He manages to gather eventually. Teammate rode the tackle. Still they go forward to the Blues now through Tyrrell. High ball toward a wing. Was unable to be taken out there by a black and white jumper, and we'll have a boundary throw in. So Glenorchy one behind to start this one. Launceston yet to make any meaningful foray forward. So boundary throw in, Big Deegan and Leadham do battle. There's Daly on hands and knees as per usual at the coalface. No clean possession one yet. Blackberry just scrapped a kick out, but it'll be mopped up in defence.
So down the line it comes from Webster. That's a good ball. I think he's found, might even be Joseph out there, who drives long in the direction of Grace. Should be cut off. There were a couple of Blues Grace had to contend with. Comes sculling through there though was a Magpie. The boundary beats all. Be thrown in deep forward 50 now for the Magpies. They've done all the attacking thus far. So the ball to be thrown in. In it comes. Down off Deegan's mitts. Slips through the fingers of Palfreyman. On hands and knees. I think it was Daly trying to feed it out. There's a whistle. It's high. It's going to go the way of Casey Brown, and he'll look to try and get things going for Launceston. It's been tough going early doors, Chris Rowbottom.
Certainly has. Game being played in the Launceston defence at the moment. That was taken on the half volley and eventually claimed in the tackle was Boyd, rising to his feet. So still yet to escape the defensive 50 here. Launceston, Glenorchy continue to press. Up they go. Leadham won it out cleanly. A free kick's been plucked out and it will go Glenorchy's way. And they'll have another shot on goal. So Aidan Grace will take the footy and kick for his first of season 2020.
So Aidan Grace, yeah, as you say, it would be the first goal for anyone in this TSL season.
I've seen a little bit of Aidan Grace in the pre-season out here at KG5 and looks to have really picked up where he left off last year. Ultimate commentator mockers here as Grace approaches. Kick looked okay off the boot. It slides through just on the inside of the right-hand goalpost. Glenorchy get there first. They go out to 1-1-7. Launceston yet to score. Glenorchy dominating proceedings early.
They are indeed, Chris. As the ball goes back in the centre, all the attacking thus far, the Magpies. And Launceston really just can't move it out of their defensive third or so of the ground. It's been real tough going, a real slog.
So back in the middle now. Glenorchy draw first blood here at KG5. An intriguing start to this one. Rucks will go at it again. Deegan and Leadham. Glenorchy win the clearance. Kamaric couldn't gather it cleanly. Geared went through. Mott attempted to lay the tackle. It was good work by Palfreyman, who got it up to Seymour. In they go now through Miller. Fly at the back. It was a good bit of work from Alec Wright, who shrugged the tackle. Got boots a ball, but didn't manage to score. So out of bounds on the full now. Zach Webster awaits for the Pies. So first meaningful foray forward for Launceston results in a flying shot on goal that is out of bounds on the full. Short ball in is good to Rhys Mott. He's got a man in Geared who was challenged in the marking contest. It's spilt to Palfreyman, who got the hands out now. Launceston go inside 50 through Tyrrell. Scrappy ball at the face of goal. Glenorchy will get through unscathed here as they work it by hand in defence. Here's Arnold now out wide looking for Roberts. He's engaged in a one-on-one with Hodge. He just gained some territory off the ground. Smart play. Grace a long way up the ground. Goes to ground. Tries to paddle it forward. Roberts still working hard. And eventually it'll be all locked up on the outer side.
Geez, we're a long way away from the action on the outer side there, Chris. You're doing well. Eyes on fire. So we go up again. The new ruckman for Glenorchy, Deegan, is worked out of it. Illegally, says the umpire. So it'll go his way. Used to seeing Duffy go to work for so long here at KG5. Deegan, big raps on him from the coach Paul Kennedy during the week. He pokes this one to centre-half back, and it's all Jamison House. And he steers it further afield, and they move now, the Blues. This is Hines. He kicks just out in front of an intended target there and right. He's done okay amongst a couple of Magpies. In fact, he's done really well. Tackle without it in the end. Taylor fields it back, looking for Hines. Hines butters up with a tackle. He picks it up, drops it off for Taylor. Taylor from the right boot, squares it back inside 50. Dylan Riley there, the danger man. He misses it, but Donnellan pounces and pokes it through for a minor score. The Blues' first of the day.
So Lonnie with a couple of chances now. They register their first. A genuine chance there for Donnellan. Yeah, one straight behind. Glenorchy, a goal to the good in this one, early days. Shortened quarters, of course, in the TSL this year. Replicating what's happening in the AFL as Webster just drives beyond defensive 50. There's a man at the back in Smith for Launceston. Wins out the handball to Brown. He trying to just scrap it forward under pressure. Flying through there was Chug, who bounced one inside 50 for Launceston. Mott's been everywhere early. Flying kick out of defence now for the Pies. And that's a big, strong mark taken by Joby Harper. So probably within range here, just Joby Harper. He's got a booming boot. Lex to just set it up. Top of the goal square. Where's Mitch Thorpe? He'll be at the front of the pack. That might have bounced through. In fact, it has. So some wonderful work on the goal square. Shepherding through the Sherrin. Joby Harper kicks Launceston's first. All things wrapped up at 117.
Usually you're giving the plaudits to the person on the goal line. There was no one on the goal line, which might have been an oversight by the Glenorchy defence, and I think it was a shepherd from Dylan Riley who got it through. He was chief destroyer when they last met at this very ground, Chris Rowbottom. Kicked 6 on that occasion. Quality player, and just a couple of nice little things inside 50 there from him, but ultimately it was Harper who got the Blues going, and now they're dead level. Umpire Chris Kay in the middle, my favourite in the business. Best in the biz. Throws up. Down off hands of Leadham. He finds Palfreyman, who bullocks his way through, kicking towards half forward. Donnellan leads the foot race. Arnold catches quickly, slips by him. Hines now with a pickup. Off to Donnellan, collected high. He'll get a free kick. The former Blue, Sam Rundle, defending on that occasion. So it'll be Donnellan with the ball. Waste no time. Off the left boot, a high one looking in the Thorpe direction. Rising above him was Harper. Riley now gets it from ground level. Feeding out the side is Holt. Slips by one off his right boot. Is off the outside. Thorpe arrives to bring it to ground and defends. It'll be a free kick for the Maggies.
So last 5 minutes has firmly belonged to Launceston here. Thorpe with plenty of energy up forward. Just a little bit too over-exuberant on that occasion. Short ball was intended for Mott. Holt did really well on the mark. Managed to affect the shepherd. She thought might have been pulled off it there. Arnold kicks a cross goal now for Glenorchy. Almost a strong mark taken on the outer side. Kamaric arrives. Haven't called his name too often as yet. They'll work it by hand here, and he might get on the end of one here, and he does. So Ben Kamaric, a prolific ball winner last year, just racked up season 2019. Gets his first couple of touches for this season to find Rainbird in the team today. Been in and out of the side over the past couple of seasons, Rainbird. Some stints elsewhere as well. Kicks Glenorchy towards half forward now. That was interesting. Tyson Miller looking for the boundary, and he did it well.
Yeah, a lot of cries for deliberate on that occasion, but the umpire having none of it. So right half forward here for the Magpies as they look to regain the lead. It's 1-1-7 apiece at KG5. Chilly day for the first round of TSL football. Deegan slaps back. It was picked up and closed down straight away. Good tackle there by Fletcher Seymour, I think it was. It's hard to make out, as I said, on that outer side. Lead him now. Down for Harper. Feeds out a handball. Doesn't go too far. Rundle spills what he should have taken. Off for Daly. He farms it out. Webb inside forward 50 now. And it slips through the fingers and out it goes. So in the right part of the ground if you're a Glenorchy Magpie. But Launceston, who were, well and truly second best for a large part of this term, have fought back nicely. The ball comes in. Leadham first to it. Drops it down. Brown tackled by Rainbird. It's good to see him back in this Magpies outfit. The Rucks go at it again. Leadham slaps down Harper. A powerful booming boot onto the outer wing. A pack forms. Donnellan first to pick it up. He didn't quite in the end, and Holt was able to get the crumb. He finds his coach in Thorpe. Thorpe just kicks towards 50. There's no one there but Hines in a blue shirt. He's there fighting it out with Arnold. Did terrifically well, did Hines. Just couldn't quite spin it home. Through for a minor score.
Gee, that would have been something. Had two pies for company and managed to still squeeze out a shot on goal. So when it comes from Rhys Mott, he was looking for Dilger, gathered it on the one hand. Here's Dom Brown, the brother of Ben. He receives the hospital hand pass and is immediately dumped.
Yeah, you just mentioned that, the brother of Ben. Big name in these parts. Well, a big name in all parts, really, Ben Brown.
And good to see him wearing the number 50 as well, paying homage to the big bro. Here's Seymour trying to work things forward for Launceston. It'll be all wrapped up, though. And another stoppage at right half forward for the Blues. They're 1-2-8. They lead Glenorchy 1-1-7. So up it goes again. Deegan does battle with Thorpe. Palms it backwards, only as far as Joseph, who is immediately wrapped up. So an arm wrestle developing here. Glenorchy owned the first 5. Launceston have probably been in control ever since. They lead by a point down to Harper now, who's been big early, worked off his kick by Rainbird. And will go over the boundary line once more.
An arm wrestle indeed. A few rusty players, I tell you, a bit rusty in the commentary box as well. It's been a while. Chris Rowbottom as the ball is thrown in nicely. Thorpe doing the ruck work. He taps down. Rundle just bowled over a former teammate. Picking up was Seymour. Spins it back inside 50. Wright did well to get fingers to it. Riley tries to ride a tackle. Slips out a kick. Foot races on and Tyrrell just whacks the boot on it. Wrong side of the upright. Another minor score. So they're leading by a couple of points now, Launceston.
So Webster, entrusted with the kick-in. Such a damaging boot, of course. The former Hawk. Finds Rainbird, who goes one way then the other. Wants Grace up on the wing. Lead him with a big fist. Coming through was Roberts. Managed to get hands to the footy, but was immediately claimed. Still at ground level now. Rainbird fed it out. Here's Daly. He's tackled as well. No clean possession. This one might be considered holding the ball under the new interpretation. Crowd certainly thought so. Umpire said no. Would have been stiff, to be fair. Up it goes again. Another stoppage. Deegan and Leadham attempted to be hacked out of there, and Rundle lays a big tackle against his former mob. So, interesting little patch here in the context of this game. Into time on now in the first term. Leadham palms it down. Rundle couldn't get after it. Geared went in too. Rundle went for another crack at the footy. And another stoppage. So Launceston 1-3-9. Slender lead here over Glenorchy. 1-1-7. Up it goes again. Deegan and Leadham. There's Seymour worked off it. Blackberry goes in. And over it goes once more. This time Roberts managing to apply the tackle right in front of the Glenorchy interchange bench.
So in it comes, Leadham and Deegan. Leadham down for Palfreyman. Looks to be operating more inside than he did last year. Trying to eye this one off is Dakin. Coming in to provide support is Seymour. So young Jared Dakin missed most of last year. Only played a couple of games for Launceston. Great to see him out there. Still would be in the draft frame if he can put a good season together. That's the ultimate commentary mockers as he sprays one out of bounds and it'll come back via the boot of Rhys Mott.
So Mott, you can't miss him in those fluorescent green boots. Sends things up the line. That's a good kick to Daly. Injected into the midfield last year was Daly, and boy did he impress. He starts there again today. He was looking for Koppelman on the lead, but the fist came across from Boyd. It was impressive. So Koppelman an inclusion today. Jaye Bowden, of course, the story. He's pacing the boundary line in the jacket and pants. He won't be taking part today. Not too sure what the issue is. I think he was mooted for a new role across half back as well. So it would have been nice to see the Prince in full flight this afternoon. Not to be, though. In it comes. Leadham, Deegan. He won it over the top. Kamaric went after it, as did his teammate in Bank Smith. Inside it goes now. Chopped off immediately, though. Miller couldn't get his ball away. In fact, it was Brown. He was ripped off his kick. Oof. There was a case there for holding the ball. He dragged it back in. Umpire said nothing giving.
Might have been a touch fortunate there. Young Casey Brown. As the ball goes up again. Leadham and Koppelman. Leadham eventually gathers the foot. He just powers it out. He's opposite Ruckman in Big Deegan, who's been okay.
You know much about Deegan, Gilly?
No, he's a basketball convert. He farms out this handball. He might have sold his team into trouble. It was a decent bit of work in the finish by Blowfield, and they'll go back to the experience of Arnold. He will find Matty Joseph with an unconvincing kick. There's time to just steer it into the middle. Well cut off by Jay Blackberry. Haven't called his name too often today. That one's interrupted by Harper. They're really good Launceston pressure here. They'll get it out through hands. It's with Taylor. He pokes a little ball to centre half forward, and it's all black and white into the arms of Arnold.
Trusty boot of Arnold finds Bank Smith out of side. He's got Webster riding shotgun. Eventually manages to go forward to Kamaric. He goes by hand now to Dilger. Got it back to Bank Smith. Pokey ball inside 50. Wasn't a bad one for Grace, who appealed for the free kick. Umpire said, no, thank you. Let's have it thrown in, please. Left half forward, right on the 50 for the Pies, searching for their second here. So boundary throw in. Deegan, who has impressed early, up against Leadham. He'll be hacked out of defence by Chug for Launceston. Bouncing ball on the outer side. Joseph will give chase alongside Tyrrell, who managed to gather the footy. He's got Harper up on a wing. Is he good enough to take the grab? Of course he is. Outstretched fingers. Geez, a class act. Joby Harper gets things going immediately. Good kick in the Palfreyman direction. Couldn't stick the mark. Launceston now retain possession. Chug once again. Bouncing ball only as far as Arnold, though, who rebounds for the Pies. Kicks up towards a wing. Ball still in play. See if they can fashion something here. Brown went to ground, and there is the quarter-time siren. A low-scoring affair, as you'd probably expect. Launceston with a narrow lead, 1-3-9. They're up by 2 over Glenorchy, 1-1-7.
Interesting first term. Pretty scrappy in KG first term, but, geez, it's good to have footy back and TSL footy back. Plenty still in this contest. We are at quarter time. Glenorchy 1-1-7, Launceston 1-3-9. The goal kickers, Aidan Grace for the Magpies, Joby Harper for the travelling Blues. As the teams get ready to discuss what went on in that first quarter.
How did you see it, Gilly?
Well, early doors it was all Glenorchy, wasn't it? And they never really took toll for their advantage in the contest and their field advantage. They had dominant field position for a large chunk of probably the first 5 or 6 minutes and didn't get much for it. And then Lonnie, once Glenorchy eventually did open the scoring through Aiden Grace, Lonnie found some footing in the contest and were able to really get going and hit back pretty quickly. So 117-139 is the equation. How about you, Chris Rowbottom? How have you seen things?
I think one thing's for sure, that the stars on either side have picked up where they left off, and Joby Harper in particular. For Launceston in that term, he did a couple of really, really nice things, including kicking that long-range goal. And perhaps a little fortunate that it bounced through on the goal line, but got himself in the right position and managed to make the journey and get it over the line. He's been very big for Launceston through the middle of the ground. Rhys Mott's been really good. A couple of the Glenorchy youngsters have shown a bit as well. Roberts, who had a taste of senior footy last year, has been solid. Aiden Grace, you would think that a lot of time and effort would have been put into Aiden Grace from the Launceston camp going into this game. So good in front of goal last year, of course. He's kicked one, but probably hasn't quite had the impact. I think it was Van der Velde who might have got him last year, who's not in the Launceston lineup this year, of course. And a couple of names we didn't call a whole heap of. Blackberry, one of them, the Blues veteran, and Ben Kamaric too, who did a couple of nice things towards the back end of the quarter. Not quite his prolific self in this early stage, but the conditions, it's cold, it's a little bit damp out there. It's certainly suiting the likes of Fletcher Seymour, those big-bodied mids running through the middle of the ground.
So we'll have a brief break from commentary now and be back with the second term. Stay with us. back and ready for second half as the support staff make their way off the field. And as we said, it's been a bit of a scrappy battle thus far. Good to see Mitch Rainbird back out there. Missed bulk of last year with injury. Good to see a couple of gun youngsters back into the Blues fold as well, with Jamison House and Jake Hines. Thought Jake Hines looked particularly crafty off half forward in that first quarter. He didn't see heaps of it, but when it was in his area, he did some nice things. And a new ruckman for Glenorchy. How have you seen his work?
He's been good. He's competed, that's for sure. And Leadham's one of the premier ruckmen in this competition. So come in for your first senior game for a new club and a new sport, I'm led to believe. He's done pretty well. Let's see how he goes here. He loses this one to Leadham, who was looking for Seymour charging through. It only went as far as a Glenorchy player in Webb. Kick inside, 50 now for the Pies. Roberts at the fall of the ball is immediately taken by Tyrrell. First stoppage of the second term. So Glenorchy go forward immediately. There's Deegan and Leadham again. High ball back out towards the middle of the ground. Mott got underneath it. He was worked off the footy. Webb came through, fit out a handball, only as far as Hines. Through hands now, Launceston goes. Seymour was bumped off it. You don't see that often. Arnold worked it forward now for Glenorchy. Only as far as a blue jumper, and the outlet kick is a good one to Hines.
Hines steers it into the arms of Dylan Riley, who meets it with a slide, wastes no time, puts it straight back in the middle. See something he likes in Paul Freeman, who stands and takes the grab. Fast, frenetic footy from the Blues at the start of this term.
They moved it quickly there, didn't they? And it was that kick off half back that sort of set up that little chain. Riley turning and burning, hitting the squaring up ball to Pelfreeman. It was a good one. Took the mark under pressure.
So Pelfreeman for about 35. Sends it sailing. It was an awkward-looking kick off the boot. It might have just come off the side. A minor score and a missed opportunity for Launceston.
Yeah, it certainly was. That's a very, very gettable kick for a player of his quality. That's all risk, all reward from Zach Webster. And on this occasion, he's put it straight down the throat of that man, Paul Freeman, who will get his second chance in as many minutes. So Zach Webster, we know he loves to bite off those kicks. Low, hard stingers through the middle of the ground. On this occasion, it does not come off. Paul Freeman with his second shot. You would think it'd be an improved effort from his last one. And he comes from about the same distance. It's better connection this time around, and he puts it through. So a Zach Webster miss kick hands Brodie Paul Freeman his first and Launceston second. They go out to 2-4-16, leading Glenorchy in this one, 1-1-7.
Well, he'd be relieved he got the second look because the cider certainly helped him because it was a whole lot better connection the second time round, as you said, Chris. Nice finish there from Paul Freeman. And the Blues extend their advantage. Hot start to this quarter. Interesting to see. Neither team's been able to get a run on yet. We haven't actually seen consecutive goals. In fact, we've only seen 3 so far in the contest. It's down off the hands of Leadham. Deegan butters up. Sockers at the way of the Magpies. Picking up in the middle was Webb. He swings it inside forward 50. Koppelman the late inclusion through his fingers. Or it was an awkward kick that landed into the arms of Geared. He sent it high and long and off the scone, I think, of Jake Smith.
That's looming as a good battle already, isn't it, Smith and Grace?
I guess whatever means, even if it does have to hit your scone, as long as the opposition don't get a hold of it, as it comes in again. Shallow throw. They'll have to do that again. It's the Bev show. It's the Bev show. He needs to hit the gym.
Bevolution needs to be better here. So Bev with Another crack at it. This is a little deeper into the field of play. Leadham won it down. Harper tried to scrap a kick Launceston's way. That might have been in the back. Umpire said it was. So a chance here for Glenorchy. It'll be Adam Roberts who emerges with the footy. Did some nice things in the first term, I thought. One of these Glenorchy youngsters. It's been a little bit of a miss to fix it across half forward and a little bit of time in defence. So Roberts, a gettable shot here for Glenorchy to answer the Paul Freeman goal. He got close to the man on the mark, sends it on its way. That's a terrific finish. Adam Roberts capitalises on a free kick inside 50. Kicks the Pies second. Back to within 3. They're 2-1-13. Trailing Launceston 2-4-16.
Terrific finish indeed. There wasn't much to it, but yeah, really nice bit of work inside forward 50. And it's the sort of day where the team that takes, or makes rather, the most of their opportunities will probably finish off on top. So Glenorchy answer the call of Launceston and cut the margin to just 3 points. So we're back in the middle through umpire Chris Kay. He throws it up. Slapped down from Leadham. Claimed in a Dakin tackle was Rundle. Rinse and repeat in the centre of KG5. Not particularly warm, it's got to be said, as it comes up again. Slapped away by Deegan, farmed out by Geared. Just putting out in the front of himself was Roberts. He has right to contend with. No, sorry, not right. Hodge, who keeps him honest and sees it out of play.
So even contest here at KG5. Chilly old KG5, of course. And it comes again, the Bev Show doing some of his finest. Dakin rode the tackle, got his hands free, only as far as Blowfield, who sends the Pies inside 50. Once again, good saving mark taken by Brown. He's been a regular fixture of this Launceston team for a while now. And he seems like one of those players who the coach would love his work. Outlet kick is a good one to House, former Burnie young gun. Finds himself in navy blue now. The Dockers, of course, no longer a part of the statewide competition. Through hands on the outer wing. Umpires picked out a kick. It'll go Launceston's way. So round 1 TSL action. Season finally commencing. Good smattering of patrons in. 500 limit, of course, today. Kick was looking for Hodge, but Roberts come across with the defensive work. They'll retain it here through Holt. He works it out with Wright eventually. Good pressure, though, from the Pies. Eventually forced the spillage. Banksmith come through with the shoulder. That might have been Kamaric who was claimed. In fact, it was Roberts on the outer side, who's been fairly lively early. Got himself a goal. Done some nice things. Up it goes again. Rucks go at it. Deegan palms it forward for the Pies. Holt came through. Might have been taken high. Umpire said no. Kamaric sees it over. So another boundary throw in. Centre wing, outer side. Launceston by 3.
So it'll be Deegan and Leadham again. Leadham, I think, got the better of that one. Trickles out the back. Blackberry gathers, and he's claimed in a tackle. Up it goes once more. Flicked away by Leadham. The ball moves along the wing. And over the boundary line it heads. So 2-1-13, 2-4-16 the equation, as we're almost 9 minutes gone in this second term. Of course, shorter quarters. And I reckon the players feeling thankful for that right now, as it's off hands and into the arms of Rundle. Gets a kick moving towards Dilger. It's forced out by Tyrrell. It'll be thrown in left half forward for the Pies. So they look to regain the lead.
There's a little grouping of 4 there in the crowd with the rug over the knees. You'd need a couple of those, I reckon, to keep warm. Kamaric came bustling through. Umpire said it was holding the ball. So it seems like the AFL interpretation might have filtered down into the TSL. Didn't have too much prior opportunity, but did take on the tackler. Here's Jamison House in the middle of KG5. Takes the kick. Goes onto his right boot, trying to send Launceston forward. Zach Webster came out strongly, paddled it to himself. Went really, really well, gathered cleanly. Had a man running past in Mott, who he fed the handball up to. Kick towards half forward now is a good one to Dilger. Forward they go now, releasing handball to Kamaric. Spearing ball towards goal. Well, I'm not sure if it was a spearing pass into the path of grace or it was half a shot, maybe 2 minds. Either way, it was a bit of a shocker. It spills out of bounds. We're in the left forward pocket for Glenorchy. This one being played so far in this second term in Glenorchy's forward half. And it comes again. Leadham took it out of the ruck. There's been a whistle. It'll go Glenorchy's way. So another free kick inside forward 50. Kamaric might have been held off the footy. In fact, it wasn't. It was Rainbird. And that was a little silly from Launceston. This will turn into a certain goal to Mitch Rainbird. Slightly undisciplined stuff there from the Blues.
Yeah, so that hurts as Rainbird powers one through from the smallest of distances. Didn't Aiden Grace, I tell you, he ran from a while away to antagonise, and I think he might have helped contribute towards the 50 and the ultimate goal. So he was straight into them about the free kick, and Glenorchy regained the lead, 3-1-19. They lead Launceston 2-4-16. Mitch Rainbird back into this outfit and kicks another as Glenorchy make it consecutive goals for the first time in this game.
Yeah, we mentioned, didn't we, taking advantage of your chances. 2 free kicks inside forward 50 now for Glenorchy and 2 goals. That one, of course, helped along by the 50-metre penalty from the top of the square. So Glenorchy kick a couple and regain the lead in this one. Deegan couldn't take it cleanly out of the middle. A little scrappy ball in Launceston's direction. Blowfield went to ground. Players will converge as the ball spills out the back. Rundle keeps it alive. Deegan now thinks his way through it. Handball to a teammate who works it forward to Nellen and Arnold. A battle out there. Arnold kicked it in front of himself, gathered cleanly and fed off a handball to Banks Smith. Nice work from Arnold. Nice work from Banks Smith in the helmet this year. Went after it, got tackled over the line. Umpire says throw it in. So plenty of congestion. Not too much free-flowing footy in the first game back for 2020. These 2 clubs, Leadham and Deegan, go at it. The little palm forward. Kamaric gathers cleanly. Thought about going inside with the hands. Went by foot eventually towards half forward now for the Pies. Good mark taken by Grace on the lead. Thought about going, did eventually, had some trouble in Blackberry. Scrappy kick along the ground. Banks Smith had to wait for it. Couldn't gather cleanly. Eventually Wright got there. He rode the tackle. Dragged off his kick. That might be ball. Kamaric butted up. Long ball inside 50. Saving mark getting back was House.
Really solid there from House. Steers it out of defence to Taylor. One of the worker bees in this Lonnie side. Usually pretty good. Off to Smith. Right in the middle of the ground. So Smith, a much improved player, ended up being a crucial piece in the Launceston puzzle last year. He powers inside 50. Donnell on the target. He was collected by a teammate, and they're both down and hurting. Play continues to unfold off the boot of Seymour, and it'll be guided over. I tell you what, they're in trouble. Coming across, I think it was Hines. Had eyes for the footy, but he absolutely clobbered in to Donnellan, who's still down.
Umpire might need to...
And feeling sorry for himself as Williams drops it off for Arnold, and Arnold looks for the hands of Grace. Has Smith sweating on him. Manages to pick up the loose footy. Bouncing towards half forward now. Dilger claims it. He's the first in a foot race. His kick, however, leaves a lot to be desired. Out on the full and a Launceston ball.
Donnellan it was involved in that hit. As things get a little heated inside forward 50.
Yeah, he had the sit, Donnellan. He just got absolutely smashed from Hines, who I think only had eyes for the footy and got lost in it all.
Yeah, that right arm looking a little limp for Denellen as he comes off the ground. So a little bit of spice here at KG5. Grace flew, had Leadham for company. Out it comes now. Well, it was attempted from Riley. Inside 50 immediately now. Kamaric looking for the hands of a teammate. Couldn't quite take the grab. There was holding off the ball. And that's a free kick that'll go the way of, I think it's young Pearce. So free kick taken immediately. That's a shocker. Couple of pies that'll work out here for Launceston, though. Jake Smith off hands will spread things wide. He's got a runner off half back in house. He releases Paul Freeman by hand. He's on the outer wing. Forward they go, Launceston. Good chain here building. Kick inside 50. Looking for right. The two Launceston players collided. Hines was the other one. Eventually it's dragged in by Arnold. In fact, it was, yes, it was, as Mott comes, as does young Blowfield. Eventually it's all wrapped up. Stoppage now deep inside Launceston's forward 50.
Thorpe does the ruck work. Down for the run of Seymour. He's burrowed into by Rainbird. They fight for it. Comes out via Kamaric. He uses his little burst of speed to get it outside defensive 50 off the chest of Geared. And it's going to be a free kick for a throw against Webb. So it'll be Harper's ball. And he can kick it from here, I reckon.
Well, we've seen it once already in this match. It was a little fortuitous, but the legs are certainly there.
I want to back him. Write it down, Chris Rowbottom. Joby Harper from 50 goes out to give himself a little bit more distance. Distance certainly not a trouble. Accuracy, however, was a minor score, and Webster wastes no time. Gets it out to Geared, and now Mott. Silky use out onto the wing. It's cut off by the Launceston defence through Boyd and helped out for a boundary throw in.
So right in front of the commentary position here at KG5, an arm wrestle. Glenorchy 3-1-19, led by a solitary point. 2-6-18, the Blues. And it comes, Leadham. Copperman did well, gathered cleanly and moved it forward for Glenorchy. One-on-one battle. Joseph did okay, but it was Holt who came flashing through, got it off to a teammate. Scrubby ball toward Alec Wright, who just tapped it on into the path of a teammate. Paul Freeman was clean. A clean pair of heels was Paul Freeman. Inside 50 he goes, and that's a wonderful mark taken by the classy Riley. Reeled it in with the one paw. Falling backwards. Had Webster to contend with, who's no slouch, of course. He'll kick from about 20 metres out on a reasonably tight angle, but this should be shelling peas for a player of Riley's class. And it is exactly that. Kicks it round the corner. Finds the middle of the sticks. And Launceston have their third. They're 3-6-24. They regain the lead. Glenorchy 3-1-19.
Fascinating game, this one. Seesawing contest. Dylan Riley, as I said earlier, last time these two teams locked horns, he was terrific. Kicked 6 on that occasion, so first of the afternoon. So back in the middle once more. I don't think we've seen the bounce as yet. Chris Rowbottom, I think my campaign has...
You've snuffed it out.
Maybe destroyed the bounce as we're down from Leadham to Seymour. He was claimed in a Daly tackle. Had young Daly for a backpack, and it'll be...
He's about the size of a backpack too, isn't he, Daly?
He's a pocket rocket.
Only small.
As they wrestle again, the rucks. Comes down from Rainbird. He's been pretty darn good. He kicks to vacant space. Leading the foot race with Dilger. Just paddles up for himself. Interrupted for Launceston. Kicking across, doesn't find his intended target. Banksmith instead. He wheels around, finds some space, gets his kick away and threads the needle. Fantastic individual effort there from Banksmith. And Glenorchy hit back in no time as there's a bit of carry-on following the goal. There's some real spice in this contest on the scoreboard. as well, as it's 4-1-25, 3-6-24.
Yeah, I think the ump will take a little bit more convincing than that, Aidan Grace. I'm glad to see the umps not being sucked in by that funny business. But immediate reply from Glenorchy, who have been accurate today, 4-1. Making the most of their chances. Bank Smith, as you called well, Gilly. Great individual effort. Back into the middle we go as the 6-6-6 gets organised. Up we go again. Deegan, lead him. Here's Rainbird, another clearance for him. He's been good, as you mentioned, Gilly, only as far as Holt on this occasion, who just zigged and zagged. Back to Tyrrell. Kick was affected by Webb on his haunches. Rainbird went in after it and got a high one. So inside 50, the Pies go once again. Grace was caught in front. Fist came down to Joseph. Missed the handball. And Launceston will rebound it here. Kick in the Dunellan direction. Mott will go in after it. He's got a player in support. Needed all the help he could get. He was ripped off it, and that's holding the ball. So free kick Launceston out of side. 3-6-24, trailing Glenorchy now, 4-1-25. Short one over the top is good to Fletcher Seymour. Short one towards half forward. Blackberry goes to the outside and hits a target inside 50. So the little ball around the corner was good. Tyson Miller gobbles up the chest mark. And he'll have a shot on goal.
Young Tyson Miller will take a reasonable kick. Eagle doing a bit. This is pretty well playing to the theme of the day, Chris Rowbottom. Every time one team seems to get in front, the other fights back. As Miller lets it ride in the end. Not his best efforts as punched through for a minor score. Launceston might be made to rue a few missed opportunities. 3-7 they are, as it's poked from Arnold to Bank Smith.
So Bank Smith deep in defence. Has a look up the line. And that's where he eventually decides to go. Sees the tall timber in Deegan. Wright got in front and took a really good mark. So he played on. Umpire said, you got to go. Finds a little target inside 50. Well worked out, Alec Wright.
That was terrific stuff. I'm not even sure he played on, to be truthful, but quick thinking.
So it falls into the arms of Brennan Taylor. So you mentioned shots on goal for Launceston, but not too many from easy positions on the ground. This is another one from a tight angle. And we'll still take some kicking. Distance shouldn't be a worry. In he comes to Taylor. It looked pretty good off the boot. The fist was raised immediately. And he sees it home. So Launceston, they get their fourth. And this is a genuine seesaw. 4-7-31 the Blues. 4-1-25 the Pies.
Yes. Seesaw indeed. This has been a terrific term. Game has sprung to life in a much bigger way. Good footy. It's great to have it back, Chris Rowbottom. We're probably edging towards the end of this term. A bit harder to sort of track now with the 16 plus time on. So up it goes again. Deegan and Leadham off hands. Dakin steers his kick towards centre half forward. Fighting for it was Miller. Slips out the back. Geared. Had it taken away from him as he looked to guide it to his boot. Leadham steers it inside forward 50. Muscled his way into the action. Thorpe tried to paddle it out to Taylor. Glenorchy escaped. Looked to move it quickly towards Kamaric. Great pick up from Kamaric. He drops it off for the youngster in Whitford. Steers it towards half forward. Grace gets it nicely on the hop. He's tackled immediately. Coming through was Joseph. Jumping on that was Smith. They wrap him up and ask for a free kick, and the umpire says, not going to happen.
Gee, how clean were Kamaric's hands on the wing there? Pure half volley, scooped it up and fed Whitford running past. Great bit of play. Goes the lead, and there might have been a bit of holding in the contest. Umpire said no. Quick kick inside 50 from Rainbird. Finds a target, and there'll be a shot on goal here for the Pies.
Who have we got here, Chris? Because I do not have a 21 on my team sheet.
So an unknown youngster here for Glenorchy with a big moment in this game. In he comes. The kick never looked like it. Shanked off the side of the boot for no score. So we'll have to get onto that. So half-time here at KG5. Launceston 4-7-31. They lead by 6. Glenorchy 4-1-25. An evenly balanced encounter, Damian Gill.
It is indeed. Really evenly balanced. We've seen at stages Launceston kick away and then Glenorchy kick back in. It's been a really, really good contest thus far. 4-1-25, 4-7-31. The goal kickers in the first term, Aiden Grace had one, and then singles to Banksmith, Rainbird and Roberts in that term. Harper the first for Launceston in the first term. Riley, Palfreyman, and who was the last goal kicker there, Chris? I don't have it on mine. And Brendan Taylor. That rounds out the goal kickers as we sit here at half-time. A slender margin, the way of the travelling Blues, but the game well and truly still up for grabs. All right, stay with us, and we'll be back after a brief break for the second half of this cracking TSL Round 1 season opener between Glenorchy and Launceston. back for the second half here from KG5. As the two teams get ready to do battle. That's exactly what it was in the first half of proceedings. Glenorchy 4-1-25. Just a little adrift of the Launceston Blues 4-7-31. We have lift-off here in the second half. Let's hope this arm wrestle continues as Leadham can't quite gather. Coming through was Rundle. Feeds out a handball. Brown just helped it on its way, but Kamaric pounced now, uses his express pace and puts it on the boot, looking long, punched away by Boyd. It was House that couldn't quite gather. He's wrapped up in the finish. The ball on the outer side of KG5. Deegan in best position, brings it down. Palfreyman gets a kick away. It's gathered and swung back in off the boot of Webb. Dilger provides a contest. Denellen just corrals the footy and holds it up, and it'll be a stoppage. Inside forward 50 for the Magpies. Deegan down. Palfreyman wins the clearance. It goes long in the direction of Thorpe. Got to him, but I don't think he knew it was coming. Webb now does well in traffic. Calls the Jets and finds an option in Rainbird. He sees something he likes in Kamaric. The ball was touched. He wastes no time. Kamaric inside forward 50. Interrupted by Brown. They work it out through hands, and now the boot of Smith. He powers. Is down off the hands of Blackberry. He's bowled over by Rainbird. It's going to be a Magpie ball as Webster puts a kick in, but the umpire's going to make him take it back, and it's going to be Rainbird's kick. So Mitch Rainbird has had a good afternoon and a welcomed inclusion back into this Glenorchy setup. From the paint of 50 or just over, there was shepherding on the mark, and they're going to get him to take it again. So we've waited a while for this kick. So Mitch Rainbird. Kicks long from about 60 metres out to the top of the square. A few flyers there, namely Joseph. He brings it down. Wright was tackled with it. Picking it up was Webster. Tries to shake off a tackle, probably holding the footy. Handball over the top finds Taylor, and the Blues get out of dodge. Good bit of work from Hines to track down the footy. So Jake Hines now. Pokey ball over the top. He's just marked by Palfreyman. Would have been inches in it. Palfreyman, just a little one over the top, looking in the direction of Wright. With strong body work there from the skipper Arnold. Out it goes in front of the interchange benches. So the ball will come in now. Leadham and Deegan. Deegan slaps down, gathered by Rundle. He just bounces off his opponent, gets his kick away, but it's all Blue. They were just shielding the 50. It's Boyd now. Pokey ball over the top. He finds Miller. Miller Hodge. He gets it out to House. Good ball movement here from Launceston. The kick from House out to Bowen Pearce. He goes a little pokey ball. Cut off. Webb with a shake and bake and a turn. Feeds it down the line via a handball. Cut off by House. He makes it someone else's problem. Gets it on to Smith. Little one over the top. Taylor now. Glides through. Drops it off for Palfreyman. The kick from Harper inside 50 is a beauty and finds Hines. Really sharp stuff. End-to-end stuff from Launceston. Jake Hines will line up for the first of the third term. Jake Hines, the smooth mover in this Launceston setup. line up for the first goal of the second half. Off his left peg and through the middle of the big sticks. Launceston draw first blood in the second half. Really nice movement finished off by Jake Hines.
He's a good player, Hines, isn't he? And it's good to see him back. He didn't play in this fixture when the last time these two teams met, back in the semi-final. So him and Jamison House, two very, very good ins for the Blues. Launceston now push that lead out. 5-7-37, 4-1-25, and even 2 goals. That must be the biggest margin of the match, just about, Gilly.
I reckon you're right.
So, back in the middle here, KG5, Deegan and Leadham now. Quick kick out of the middle for Launceston. Good strong mark taken in front. That was wonderful from Blackberry. The veteran at full tilt clunked it.
Get a little run on here, Chris Rowbottom. This goal would make things quite interesting because at that point it comes, right, Glenorchy need a response or Deloney run away with it.
Well, this would be a big goal. He's not a big man, Jay Blackberry. He'll kick from right on 50. In fact, just inside. He sends it on its way. It won't get the legs. He'll get all the way to the line, and guess who? Joby Harper. Big, strong mark from a big, strong man. He'll play on immediately. Around the corner he goes. And he misses.
Well, I'd just about written that one
Well,
down.
you had the pen at the ready very early.
It was an acute angle, I guess, but that is a big let-off for the Magpies.
That's a huge let-off.
Webster, a very lazy kick, it must be said, inside. Finds Kamaric. His kick's not great either, but they managed to work it out. A little tipple over the top. Banks Smith butters up with a good tackle on Deegan. Wasn't seeing a heap of the pill. It'll be a stoppage just outside the arc. So Deegan gets in front position, drops it at his toes. There's a tackle that went on while that was unfolding. Probably should have been a free kick the way of Harper, and he's not happy about it. And probably rightfully so. Kamaric slung him away from the contest as it's down off Deegan's hands. The umpire has seen something.
Well, I've been impressed with your man, this umpire. He's
Chris Kay,
done a good
mate.
job. Good to see some fresh faces coming through the umpiring ranks, of course.
So Deegan fires out a handball, finds the speedy Kamaric. He uses those wheels to great effect, but the kick just short of grace.
Starting to get his hands on it, Kamaric, isn't he? He sort of lifted in the back end of that second term. He's starting to just find the footy a little bit. Damaging player. He's got that burst of speed. The kick on that occasion, not his finest. Boundary throw in here. Bevolution to do the work. And it comes good from him. That was wonderfully rowed by Deegan, who just burst through and sent a high ball into the middle of KG5. Arnold had work to do. Launceston will move it forward now. Foot race. Here's the veteran in Thorpe. He's got some company, though, in Williams. He went after it, fed up the handball, did very, very well. Clearing kick from D50 now for the Pies. Banks Smith underneath it, roved his own footy, spun in and out of trouble. Launceston ball now. Kick came out into the Seymour direction. He rode a high tackle, tried to dink one over the top. Mott went in, looking for Harper, dragged it in. He might have a problem. Umpire says it was all well and good. We'll have a ball up 45 metres out from the Launceston goal. Another goal here would hurt. So Thorpe will do the ruck work. Down it comes. And as far as Rundle, the former Blue, rode the Dunellan tackle. As a massive bodies pile on, we'll have another ball up.
We will indeed. So Launceston with a handy 13-point buffer here as matters stand as the ball goes up. It's with Seymour for an instant. Slipped through his fingers though. Out the back was Tyrrell. Guides a ball out towards Miller, I think it was, who was claimed in a really heavy tackle from Rundle. They pile on top. A few kind words exchanged.
And a free kick.
And a free kick plucked. It's going the way of Tyrrell. So young Ryan Tyrrell will send it inside 50. He pops this one up. It is a wobbler and a shocker. How's he managed that, Chris Rowbottom?
That's a genuine shank. That is off the side of the boot. No penetration. Straight out on the full. We've seen a couple of those today. So Callan Daly will bring things in. This kick's a little better. Through the hands of Banks Smith. Brown at the back of the pack. Off to Tyrrell now. Inside 50. Thorpe came out. He's been quiet today, but he hangs on this time. Wheels and goes towards the goal square for Launceston. Getting back a pack of players. Dillon crashed through. Ended up with Mott. Tried to keep it in. Holtz. Run it over the boundary. So a boundary throw in. Launceston continue to threaten. Deep inside there, forward 50. Young Williams been okay on Thorpe today. Hasn't had much influence as the veteran. Holt applies a tackle. And we'll have another stoppage. So well poised here this game. Launceston, the 13-point advantage. Glenorchy not out of it, though. A goal here, though, would make it difficult. Rundle, quick kick out of the congestion. It'll bounce over the line for another boundary throw-in.
Quarter time around the grounds. Lauderdale 2-4-16. Clarence just the one behind. So Lauderdale in charge in the Stay Chatty Cup. Good start as it's one from Leedham. And the ball trickles out of play. And the other game, of course, North Launceston and North Hobart yet to start, but not far away at all.
Yeah, they look scary this year, North Launceston, as they do most years, to be fair. Quick kick out now from Daly. Here's Brown going in after it. He's tackled by Geared. He might be in trouble. Umpire lets it go. So stoppage here. Lead him straight into the path of a teammate in Seymour who's just holding his ground. We'll have another stoppage. So a back issue for Jaye Bowden, we found out during the break. Wasn't quite right for round one. Big loss for the Pies. Spills out now to Callan Daly and he kicks out on the full.
So a little one from Smith finds the skipper Harper. Oh, there was a kick on in the centre. He opts to go the safe approach down the line to the big man Leedham, who arrives with serious gusto. Brings it to the floor. They work it out through hands. Glenorchy, that'll be holding the footy against Daly. Really good tackle from young Deegan. He's
been good today.
Yeah, hasn't seen a heck of a lot of it, but just looks classy and does the right things as it's down the line. A pack forms. Really good grab being claimed by Dylan Riley. The umpire having none of it. With a spin, he gets away. High up and under inside 50. Really good grab from Hines. Just arrived. Perfect timing with the mark. Pokey kick over the top to Taylor. It eventually gets to him and he'll line up for his second.
Yeah, Taylor had time and space inside 50 there. The kick had to be precise, though. Hines wanted to get it moving as quickly as possible. He did so and found the target. So Taylor will kick for his second here. And I think will become the only multiple goal kicker of the afternoon if he can put it through. He leans back on the kick. Umpire does a fair bit of work. He's missing.
Well, I tell you what, Harper and Taylor now, two let-offs for the Pies who haven't really got going in this stanza as Webster brings them out from fullback. Geez, I tell you what.
That's what he can do.
That is absolutely delightful by Boot, as it's now with Webb, who's pretty handy himself. Finds Grace. This is good stuff from the Pies. He kicks now, looking for Dilger. Finds Dilger. Hitting targets for fun, the Maggies. Brings it deep now. The ball looking in Deegan's direction. The big man collected, gathered by Miller Hodge, and Blues get away with one, do they? As the ball bounces towards the arc. It's gathered by the youngster Blowfield. He's wrapped up in a tackle. Ball trickles away. Farm back for the Blues. It's with Taylor. Just missed a goal a little earlier. Kicking for the coach in Thorpe. Hasn't had a heap to do. It's Magpies now through Webster. He finds Blowfield. Blowfield towards 50. It was almost gathered by Geared. Not quite, and Tyrrell will get the Blues out of trouble.
So Webb and Thorpe to go after it. Thorpe went in hard and paddled it forward for his team. Only as far as Alec Wright, who tried to keep it moving, was unable to do so. Boundary throw-in. That was a wonderful passage that almost resulted in a goal for Glenorchy earlier, and it was all off the back of that Zag Webster bullet out of defence. That is his weapon. Deegan works his way to the front. Dakin takes possession. He's wrapped up by Kamaric. Umpire says, "I'll have it, please." So up it goes again. Deegan and Leadham, as they've done so all day. Quick kick out now for Launceston. Webster and Riley do battle. Wright comes in after it. Drops it off now to Hines. Kick to a dangerous spot. Nobody home, though, for the Blues. Pies will mop up here. Here's Arnold, who, well, it was not his finest. Harper will work a handball out to Donnell, and he's got Riley on in the square. Couldn't get it to him. Eventually just put on the boot by Arnold, and they'll find the sanctuary of the boundary line. Almost made an absolute meal of that, did the Pies.
It was a millisecond away from being a goal, I reckon. Just got crunched at the perfect time for the Magpies, did Donnellan. The Bevolution looks to bring it in. As he got a little bit more on this throw. We saw a shocker for him early on in the game.
It's got good sauce on it.
Don't know, a little shallow for mine.
As I liked it.
Gathered from Leadham. He puts it over the top looking for Miller. Gathered by Kamaric. Found space when there was none. Puts this one high looking for Rainbird. House did so well. Just great with the left juker. Threw it out and collected. He's looked good, House. Handy back into this side. He looks for Big Thorpe. Couldn't bring it down. It was gathered back there by Whitford. Slipped through his fingers. On hands and knees was Donnellan. The Pies managed to get it out of congestion, and it's with Rainbird. He looks straight into the middle of the ground to his fellow helmeted player in Banks Smith. Brings it down and collects. Gets it away in the nick of time. Puts it out in front of the paddock. Out there for Aidan Grace. He was collected by Smith. No free kick, says the umpire. And the Blues will work it out through Hines on centre wing.
Some free-flowing footy starting to emerge here as Hines' little ball got over the top to Blackberry. He now puts one towards half forward. That's a well-weighted kick to Power Freeman. He looks inside 50. Sees something he likes. Right gets to the front. Couldn't take the mark. Brown swung off his kick. It spills and rolls into the arms of Arnold, who fed off a handball to Arnold, who was lucky not to be pinged. Mott on hands and knees. Back out to Arnold, who just throws it on the boot. Blowfield goes back. Takes a nice grab going back with the flight. Gets things moving immediately. Kick wasn't great. Tyrrell had to spin out of trouble. Did well enough to get the handball off to Hines. Received it back, did Tyrrell. Kick towards half forward. Webster attempted to fly, was worked underneath it. Launceston with a chance now through Dakin. Hands off now to Seymour. Holds it left half forward. Around the corner kick. A mark is taken deep inside 50. Who have we got here? It might be Riley.
The giveaway's the tattoo. The ink.
The ink on the leg was the clue. So Dylan Riley marks on his chest in front of Dom Brown. A tight angled kick. But Dylan Riley, with his bag of tricks, will back himself from here. Plays on immediately. Kick around the corner. Fair bit of work done by the umpire. And another chance slips through the fingers of the Blues. They go to 5-11-41. Leading Glenorchy 4-1-25.
Well, if they lose today, they'll look at the scoreboard with disgust. I think it's 5:11 now, or is it
I
5:10?
don't think it ticked over to
As
11.
it's kicked outside of defence by the Magpies. Whitford and Wright. Wright wins it for the Blues. Drops it off. It was high, I thought, on Tyrrell. No free kick coming. Grace is crying for a free kick of his own. And there is the siren for three-quarter time. Launceston dominated the quarter but didn't take full toll on the scoreboard. 5:10:40, they lead it to Glenorchy 4:1:25. Some missed opportunities in that term, Chris Rowbottom.
Yeah, absolutely. And you nailed the call spot on. If they are to get overrun here, I'll look at the scoreboard and they won't be happy. Missed opportunities, but they hold a pretty handy advantage in the context of this game. A low-scoring affair, and they're 15 points to the good. They're dominating play. That was played in their forward half that term, that's for sure. So I think they'll still be fairly happy. They've restricted Glenorchy to just the 5 scoring shots. So Launceston on top, it's fair to say, but they haven't closed the door as they would have liked just yet.
Still well and truly up for grabs this contest. Launceston lead it. Stick with us. 1 quarter of hot footy still to come in TSL round 1. So as we turn for the last, the Blues lead at 5:10:40. Glenorchy 4:1:25. And it's fair to say there's a bit of spirit from Glenorchy at three-quarter time. Chris Rowbottom.
Certainly was. Coach Paul Kennedy keeping his troops on the ground for a prolonged period and getting quite animated in the huddle, just attempting to instill something in his troops. They're 15 points down. It is set up for them if they want it enough.
This is down off the fingers of Leadham now from Palfreyman. He looks in the Hines direction, who's provided a pretty good target today as Banksmith wheels away out of defence. He's been not bad himself, finds a target.
So Webb off half-back for the Pies. It's almost a good mark reeled in by Rainbird on the lead, but alas, it spills out of bounds. So 5:10:40, the Blues lead Glenorchy 4:1:25. It's only 15 points the margin, but feels a little more than that given Launceston's dominance of the game. Straight down from Leadham into the arms of Seymour. Immediately wrapped up by Rainbird, who's been pretty good today. Leadham again down to Seymour. Thought about getting his kick away, but Rainbird was right on his hammer. We'll have another ball up. So, first goal crucial in this final term. Down it comes. Daly, one clean possession. Eventually decided to just go off the deck. It'll spill out of bounds once more. So, footy stuck out on this outer side. Early doors in this final term. The cool KG5. Who can break the deadlock here? First goal this final term. Get things moving. Here's Kamaric. Can he produce something? He'll get Glenorchy inside 50. Off hands. Good tackle laid by Dilger. They'll get the decision too. Holding the ball. So a chance here for the Pies. He'll be coming in the Grace direction, who doubles back towards goal. High ball, it won't quite get there. He flew in the end, did Grace. Got hands to it. Off hands was House. Scrappy ball. Dilger comes in again. So he marks on his chest, sliding in. Not sure if he's got the leg here. Big chance here for Glenorchy. Strike the first blow of this final term. Dilger. Looks like he's going to have a shot. In he comes. Sets sail for home. Distance wasn't an issue, but he misses to the near side. 4:2:26. The margin cut to 14. Launceston 5:10:40.
So Glenorchy only cut the margin by a minor score as Boyd takes the mark from the kick in. He'll look long and a pack will likely form. The target is right. Got hands to it, but Mott took it off hands, brought it to ground, slips out. Arnold now has a problem. Ridden into the ground from Hines. Perhaps fortunate to get away with that one.
Yep.
So Deegan and Leadham. Deegan, strong fist forward. Gathered by a Hodge. Leadham now throws it on the boot. Long it comes. Hines underneath it. Good grab, Hines. He's been good today. Looks up. His players stream towards goal. Just cools the jets and finds the skipper in Harper. He uses his booming right boot to send it long. Out the back is Riley if it can get there. Webster makes sure it doesn't, but his kick is cut off by Denellen.
Had a bit more time than he thought, I think, Webster.
Watch for Thorpe here. Just lurking round the back. I thought it might be the classic handoff.
So you got the journey here, Gilly, Denellen.
He's going to have a look at the sticks. Goal here would make things very, very tricky for Glenorchy. Goes out wide to get the distance. It's coming back. Oh, off hands and through the middle. It was a good kick in the end. Didn't have enough height to see it through for a goal.
He struck it okay, Denellen. Glenorchy live to fight another day. Webster brings it in. Goes short to Arnold. Time of the essence with these shorter quarters as well. They've only kicked the 4 for the game. That's 50 metres. So this helps things for Glenorchy. Umpire Chris Kay spotted something. So that'll bring Josh Arnold and his booming boot up to centre wing. Spreads things wide to Rainbird. He's going to poke one inside. It's a good ball. I'll go immediately now through Mott. You know he'll hit a target, and he does exactly that. So Glenorchy now at centre half forward. Wide ball out. Looking for Daly. Brought it to ground. Here's Kamaric off the outside of the right boot. Bouncing ball. But Smith got back. So another half chance for Glenorchy. Smith runs it out of full-back. Gets good territory, but only as far as Banks Smith. So they retain possession here to the Pies. Inside 50 it comes. Not a deep entry. Over the back. Kamaric, another chance. Shot on goal was smothered. Tumbling ball outside 50 now. Got to be clever here to Glenorchy. Deegan took his time. Worked it by hand. Conceded some ground. Arnold now back inside 50. Blue jumpers converged. Eventually hits the deck. It's a live still for Glenorchy. Holt rushed his kick, but it was fortuitous. Blackberry on the end of it. And breathing space now for the Blues.
Blackberry switches it up and finds Boyd. They just need to take a bit of the heat out of this one and just control the tempo. The Blues is with House now. He can take the free man on the outer side. I think it might be Casey Brown out there. Not entirely sure. It's that far away. I can't quite tell as the ball's poked inside. Good lead is honoured by Wright. He pops it over the top and all too easy this. It's Miller now. He was all on his own. No one anywhere near him. And from about 40 out, he'll at least soak time off the clock. His kick from a lot closer didn't get near it, so it'll be interesting to see whether he can make the journey on this occasion. Starts his approach to goal. Kicks just inside the arc. A lot of height on the kick. It's sent sailing. Wrong side of the post.
Mitch Rainbird down in front of the benches, hobbling along the boundary. So Kamaric receives the kick in from Webster. He flares things wide to Arnold, who's been pretty good today in defence. Goes one way then the other. Took on the tackler in Palfreyman in a spot of bother here. The Pies eventually thrown on the boot by Rainbird. Bouncing ball falls to Rundle. He gave it off to Copperman. The big fella tried to use his weight. Back to Rundle, who's immediately claimed by Palfreyman. And good pressure applied by Launceston, who lock it in their front half. Couldn't quite work things out there, the Pies. Copperman will do the ruck work, but Leadham won the tap with ease. Little squeezy ball fell into the arms of Taylor. He goes inside 50. It's a direct kick. It's a good one too. So another look at it now, Launceston. House with one inside 50. Here's Dylan Riley. Thought about going back for the set shot. Plays on immediately. Streams into goal. And makes no mistake. That's a big blow for the Pies. Dylan Riley strikes. And we've got a player down inside 50 as well for the Pies.
Looks in some discomfort, but I tell you what, that is just the experience and the smarts of a Dylan Riley. He could have gone back, milked the clock and taken his kick and probably would have given it a decent look, but just sensed that he could steal 20 metres without anyone noticing, and he's a good kick on the run and did it with aplomb. And, well, that makes the equation awfully hard now for Glenorchy. They're going to have to kick 20-odd points in no time, and they've only got 27 on the board as it's now with Harper. He squeezed out a kick from the clearance. Down from right. Miller did well. Drops it off for Dakin with style. Looks at the sticks. Just tugs it wide to the left.
Yeah, well, they're peppering now, Launceston.
They are a really good team, the Launceston Blues.
So what do Glenorchy have? Do they have something in the tank? A last roll of the dice. It will have to be long and direct, you would think, from here on out. Webster's the man for the job. Clears defensive 50. Koppelman did well just to get behind Leadham and to judge the flight of the ball and take a nice chest mark. Pops it up toward a wing. Dilger had a couple to contend with. Eventually it spills out for a boundary throw-in into the trusty arms of Bev. Let's see if he's got a little bit of mayonnaise on this one, Gilly. Haven't been a fan of the penetration today.
No, jeepers.
That one might need to get on the bicep curls, Bev. But it's in play. Seymour crashes past a couple. Long way down for Leadham. Couldn't gather cleanly. Roberts overrun it. Dakin went in hard. Umpire says, give it to me, please. Up it goes. Koppelman and Leadham. Leadham with the clear advantage. Won the tap out. Geared was there, as was Miller. It's all wrapped up once more. So you would think just a matter of nothing silly here for Launceston. Glenorchy have to take all the risk here. Can they win something out of the stoppage? There's Blackberry. Another ball up. 6:13:49 the Blues. They lead Glenorchy 4-3-27. Chance now. Daly attempted to go off the deck. Mott might have got one high. In fact, he threw it in the end. Free kick, Launceston. So he had Seymour short if he wanted it. Eventually, Hodge just goes back into defence, into the awaiting arms of Smith.
Smith now goes long and strong. Slips through the fingers of the intended target there in Pearce. Managed to bring it out eventually through Tyrrell. Really well done by Wright. Great pickup, gets it to Denellum, but he's pinged owing the ball, so obviously didn't dispose of it illegally, says the umpire, Chris Kay. And I tell you what, he's rarely wrong, Chris Rowbottom. Steers this one from Arnold, finds Banks Smith. Keeps it moving, the Pies rather. Don't really have time to waste, I tell you what. Mott just snapped his ankles. Sends it long and strong. Beautiful little jink that was at half back by Mott. It's Brown now, who's caught and gone, says the umpire. So the Pies with a look at things. No one really inside 50, though. The umpire having none of that from Kamaric. I have to go back. Might give some time for Glenorchy to set up at the very least. Deegan is marched right to the square, the last line. It's Aiden Grace out there.
Launceston. Obviously, there's still whistles of plenty going here.
Umpire not happy with
just
Grace's
get it
work.
going.
So here is Aiden Grace. You'd like him to be on the end of the kick rather than the kicker. They'll look to switch it up. Send it across to Williams, the debutant. He's found Webster, who waited too much for it. Miller did really well. House fakes a handball and puts it long onto the chest of Thorpe. Thorpe now can go to Riley if he likes, or he can go deeper still. He just pokes up and lets Riley go to work, and he may well play on here. You never know.
Just about to say that. You've got to be wary here of him wheeling around. He's going to go short now to Thorpe.
They're just milking the clock, Chris Rowbottom.
We're 13 minutes deep, 16 plus time on, of course, in this new format. But look at this. Unmanned inside 50 was Taylor. So the Blues just gain 15 here. There's another lead in the pocket from Blackberry. That's ignored. Taylor might just fancy himself.
He's kicked one already, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been okay. So Taylor, he'll kick right from the paint of 50. Never looked like it.
Jeepers. Well, points for trying. No score though, however, as Mott brings it out. This might be his... He's not allowed to just run off, says the umpire. Might have been a shepherd on the mark. Mott, this might be his last kick for the Magpies in a while. He's going up to the coast where he comes from to play for Ulverstone as it's fanned out by Harper. Nice little jink inside by Palfreyman, and he puts on the finishing touches. Nail in the coffin of the Magpies. Launceston are going to win the season opener.
Been just too good today, and too many open looks at goal. That's another one. Player of the class of Brodie Palfreyman waltz in 40 metres out, directly in front. Not going to miss too many of those. Glenorchy backs just been under siege. 7-13 they move towards now, Launceston. Glenorchy just 4-3-27. So out to 28 points here at KG5. It's been tight all day, but the back has been broken, you would sense, of the Glenorchy Magpies in this season opener, who battled hard and led at stages, but the cream of Launceston, who are probably the team we expect to challenge North Launceston, if any, this season. And they've looked pretty good today. Still fighting hard, the Pies, though, in the middle of KG5. Rhys Mott kicks one inside 50. Scrapping and scraping at ground level. Out it comes. Geared just pushes it forward. Rainbird might have got one high. Yes, he did. Chris Kay all over it. Hayden Grace, well held today. Glenorchy spearhead. Worked up the ground to get a couple of kicks, but just the one goal for him today. Mitch Rainbird, who's been impressive. He was off the ground a short time ago, looking in some discomfort, but he's obviously back out there now. So Rainbird, he'll kick from no real angle to speak of. 35 metres out from goal, sends it on its way, and it crashes into the woodwork.
Quick little update from around the grounds. Quarter time up at UTAS Stadium. 2 straight 12 North Launceston, 1 straight 6 North Hobart. So not too much on the scoreboard in terms of action inside the first quarter at UTAS Stadium as Hodge pinpoints it to Harper. Long booming boot. He sends out looking in the Riley direction. Spills through his fingers.
So it's been those names, hasn't it? Harper and Riley and Palfreyman and Seymour and Leadham. Thorpe's been really quiet. I've enjoyed the efforts of young Williams on him today. I think he's held him very, very well. Leadham won it down. He might have been holding Deegan in the contest. Umpire said no. Kamaric will track this to the boundary. He's clean below his knees. He's on that occasion, but he had Dunellen for company. Now it goes directly in front of the scoreboard, which reads Launceston 7-13-55, Glenorchy 4-4-28, 18 minutes gone, final term. We are in the final stanza, well and truly here at KG5. Rundle tries to just work it forward. Hodge worked off it. Palfreyman happy to see it over. So Lonnie just getting to Hobart and just getting the job done today, Gilly. No real fuss about it.
Well, it was seesawing early, wasn't it? But it's certainly been all Launceston in this second half as Harper farms out a handball, swatted away the direction of Glenorchy. Now Rainbird looks to claim it. He rode into the back of his opponent, though, and it'll be a Launceston kick. I think this might be young Chug. He hasn't done a heck of a lot. He kicks long and strong. Good mark from Harper. He's a star, the big-bodied midfielder. Leads this team so well. Kicks just over the head of his coach. Gathered nicely from Dunellen. Rides the tackle. Slips a handball out. Seymour good at ground level. Fires out a handball. Back for Dunellen. Now off for Hodge. There's a whistle, though. It's going to go against the Blues. Be a Glenorchy ball.
Yeah, it looks like Kamaric to receive the free. It's all elementary at this stage, though. He lifted throughout, did Kamaric. Did some nice things. Just goes long toward a wing. Leadham rows the footy. Webb on hands and knees. Fed it out as far as Seymour. Rode a tackle. Managed to squeeze out a handball somehow. Paul Freeman again. Mott sees him over. And another boundary throw in. So footy's back. It's down at half-time having a chat to some of the Glenorchy hierarchy. The crowd sort of hovering around that 485 sort of mark for the outdoor contingent, with a few more upstairs, of course. So kudos to those on the gate today for running a tight ship.
This will be a free kick for Rhys Mott. He uses it nicely, as he so often does. Rarely misses a target, Mott, as Dilger steers it long down the line. Koppelman couldn't gather. Brown arrives now. And his handball finds its way out of play. So 4-4-28, 7-13-55. Probably could have been uglier, the scoreboard.
So young Koppelman, not the physique of a senior state league footballer, but I reckon he's competed really well today. He could obviously come in for Jaye Bowden and a bit of size about him. I think he's can probably hold his head high as somebody who's done some okay things for his team, all things considered. Blowfield receives a free kick here. Just another one of these youngsters who Glenorchy will just continue to pump some games into. Webster to Mott. They'll miss him when he goes, as you mentioned. Dilger now. Inside 50, they go. This might bounce towards goal, and it misses near side. So Glenorchy move to 4-5-29. So out it comes for Launceston in the Hines direction. Over the back was Holt, who had two pies for company. He's just edged off the ball. Eventually it's one out now to Kamaric, who thought about a bounce. His kick will just stay in, but it won't matter because Boyd gets in front to take the mark. Short one to Smith. And there is the siren. Launceston 7-13-55 defeat Glenorchy 4-5-29. Fairly convincing in the end. Short quarters. Launceston on the board for season 2020. Glenorchy let a home game slip. But the Blues get the chocolates in front of 500 at KG5. Damian Gill.
Yeah, a fantastic victory for Launceston on the road. A game everyone has waited so long for. And Launceston get back on board in winning ways. It was really through a second-half domination. Chris Rowbottom, Dylan Riley, terrific, like the game with Jake Hines. And then their on-ball brigade, I thought, were dominant for most of the day. The likes of Harper, Paul Freeman, and, of course, Seymour, I thought, had the better of the Magpies midfield. And as so often is the case in games of Australian rules football, that's where the game was probably won or lost. They were very, very good today, the Blues.
They didn't have, from what I can see, too many players that didn't contribute today. Even Mitch Thorpe, who was really well held, did a couple of things. But their mid-tier of Miller Hodge and Ryan Tyrrell and Tyson Miller and these guys, Casey Brown, another one, they all did bits and pieces today that contributed to the win. Then the Stars just were allowed to do as they liked. Joby Harper was terrific once again. Dylan Riley was really good. I thought Jake Hines was good. Powerfreeman and Seymour through the middle. Jay Blackberry went forward and took a couple of marks. Jamison House was really good across half-back, really controlled things down there. So 22 contributors today. I know it's a cliche, but I really can't spot too many weak links in that Launceston team. For Glenorchy, well, they tried hard and they had patches where they were on top, especially the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game. I thought Mitch Rainbird did really well. Aidan Grace kicked an early goal, but was really well held. And then that was probably the difference. The mid-tier, your Dilgers and maybe your James Webbs and your Geards, young Whitford and Blowfield probably needed a bit more from the younger brigade. Brady Williams was fantastic, though. He played on Mitch Thorpe, first game for the club, kept him goalless. I thought he was a shining light, but they lose Rhys Mott now, I believe.
Yeah, and it must
Glenorchy.
be said, we probably didn't highlight it nearly enough, that Glenorchy are pretty undermanned at the moment.
Yeah.
They've got quite a few, not just regular players out, but stars out of the setup, and Jaye Bowden was the full stop on that, losing him just before the first bounce. So they battled pretty well in the first half, fell away in the second half, and Launceston looked a much, much better side. But you'd like to think by the conclusion of the season, this Glenorchy team is looking a lot stronger and playing better footy. But a good first up game for the TSL season. Launceston Football Club successful 7-13-55. Glenorchy 4-5-29. Thanks for joining us on today's coverage. We hope you've enjoyed it. Bye for now.